What the Denver Broncos are doing right now is absolutely absurd. While the rest of the entire country, while the national media, while Vegas sleeps on this team, the Denver Broncos players and coaches and ownership group are harnessing the hate to grind and get better, and they're prepared to shock the world, and they are keeping the receipts. And if you're also keeping receipts on this team, welcome to Sports Talk Denver, where all we do is talk about Denver Broncos, how high our ceiling is, and if you believe that the ceiling is high, it helps me out a ton if you would like and subscribe. So let's dive into the hate that's come and some new players who've come out and just responded to that. So Pro Football Focus came out and said that the Denver Broncos have the worst roster in the entire NFL. If you go through like Mike Clay's ESPN breakdown of the entire league, it's like that 100-page document. We are underdogs or have under a 50% chance of winning every single game of our entire schedule, which is just absurd when last year we won 8 games and we've improved in almost every single area that you can possibly imagine. And so all this stuff is coming in and it's flooding in, and you know that players are hearing about it. And so over the past couple of weeks, you have had NFL players on the Denver Broncos asked about how do you respond to people saying that you suck? And the Denver Broncos players have had incredible responses, just like we have on this channel, because we're like, we don't suck. We're actually like really, really good. Well, a lot of people like in the comments when I dropped that Courtland Sutton was asked about it the other day, and he said, hey, we're disrespected and we're going to shock the world. A lot of people said, well, what do you expect NFL players to say when they're asked a question like that? Of course you have to say good things. And my job is like in PR for a school district out here. And so I help coach principals and superintendents. Hey, if a media member asks you a tough question, here's how you can answer that question without like really answering that question, right? That's what all PR is in the world today. And so, you know, you ask someone like Courtland Sutton, hey, how do you respond to all the hate? And he just says, well, you know, we try to block out all the outside noise and just get better every day. And football, it's every game, any given Sunday, and we're just going to go out there and do our best. That's how you answer that. And historically, every single team in the NFL, they get PR training, and you see answers all the time that aren't really answers. Well, I have not seen a single one of those type of answers from Sean Payton, from Courtland Sutton, or the one that just like got me so hyped and started my weekend off like just like an absolute baller. So we had Jaleel McClaughlin, who I'm crazy high on, and I just see his ability like taking this offense to a whole nother level next year. Sean Payton has gushed about how he gained 8 pounds in the offseason, and he understands how to pass block now, and we really are going to have a slash and dash kind of dude where he can hit the outside, and we're going to be able to pummel the inside with Javonte on a contract year and Audric Estime. So anyways, I'm really hyped. And so Zach By on 104.3 The Fan and Philip Lindsay asked him, hey, how do you respond when people say bad stuff about your team? Like, does it faze you? And he could easily, like I said, the thing he's been coached to say is, oh, that stuff doesn't faze us. We try to block out all the outside noise, and we just grind and do our best and let the chips fall where they may. That's how you answer it if you actually don't believe in your team. Listen to how he answered it and how different that is from that.
Here, and it pisses me off. You know what I'm saying? I feel like, and we gonna show them. We gonna show them. I want them same people.
So that, like, if you're being coached up, which they have like a whole PR squad, I guarantee you they tell them, don't say that. Like, don't say they make you mad. Like, that's just media fodder right there. But that shows that like he's really ticked off, and he's like, hey, we're gonna show them. Let's let this breathe a little more.
That same energy at the end of this year, and shoot, after the first game, because we're gonna show them the first game. But I
bring that same energy at the end of the year. Actually, the first game, because we're gonna show them the first game. Like that you're giving bulletin board material to the Seattle Seahawks by saying that. Like, hey, we're gonna show them first game of the year that they slept on us. And again, you just don't say that if that's not true. Find me any other time over this like 8-year losing streak where you've heard someone say that kind of stuff about the Broncos. Like, people didn't say that. Even when Russ got here, that was one of the first things under that Nathaniel Hackett era that had me concerned, was like hearing reports out of training camp that the defense was winning every single training camp had me concerned. But then you also didn't see this type of like confidence saying like, hey, we're about to give Patrick Mahomes a run for his money in the AFC. So let's let this breathe a little more, because it'll make you just run through a wall, and it's so sick.
But keep that same energy. Don't start putting us at, you know what I'm saying? And I done kept some receipts. You know what I'm saying? So when they come and they talk to me about it, we got something to say about it, you know. But I think that y'all not even have they been to a practice? You know what I'm saying? Like it's
like those people, right?
Yeah. Have they been to?
Probably not.
Probably not, right? You know what I'm saying? But we gonna show them. And it pisses me off, and I'm sure if everybody in the locker room, if they seen it as well, like I am, it's gonna piss them off too.
So I know some of the viewers of Sports Talk Denver, your kids are there, and I don't swear on this channel, so hopefully I don't let my kids say that word. So that lets you know that, like, Jaleel McClaughlin wasn't supposed to say that. Like, we're super ticked off. Sean Payton wasn't supposed to say when Zach Bye asked him at the press conference, how do you respond to this? What did he say? He said, I have 2 middle fingers, and I've learned as an older coach now when to use those 2 middle fingers. But basically he's saying, hey, here's what I think about all those people saying we suck. And again, all of this, if the Denver Broncos didn't have high hopes for themselves, this is not how they would do it. Cortland Sutton wouldn't say we're about to shock the world. Pat Surtain wouldn't hop on to the Rome show and say, Sean Payton is a lot like Nick Saban. Jaleel McClaughlin wouldn't say, we're going to show him after game 1. It makes us all mad, and use a word that I don't even let my kids use, right? So this is getting really, really juicy. I think you see that again with, like, who are the people who are choosing to join the Denver Broncos? If we were going to suck, do you think a guy who probably should be a head coach in the NFL comes and works for a team who is going to drastically underperform? No, again, Sean Payton is a magnet, and a good magnet in that way. And David Shaw is like, hey, I look what I did at Stanford. I evaluated talent better than pretty much any other coach, and I took a school that most people couldn't get into, and I found with really strict parameters, hey, here's how I can get smart people, like with good GPAs who are also good at football, who come and do this. And I just think the sky is truly the limit in that way. And we've talked about this before, but man, you can't find a better evaluator of talent than David Shaw, because of the strict guidelines and regulations that he had to do, and because no awesome football players like, oh yeah, when I grow up, I want to go and play for Stanford. Like, my son, who like dreams of being in college football someday, has probably never even heard of Stanford before. He's like, I'll go to the Ohio State, or I'll go to Michigan. This is a perennial stepping stone, and what David Shaw did with that is incredible, and the fact that he's here shows really, really high hope that he has in this ownership group and in Sean Payton. I think our free agents as well, like, all of a sudden you're getting John-Franklin Meyer, who was a starter in the NFL, and he gets to choose who he gets traded to, and he chooses the Denver Broncos because we suck? No, because he knows that we are going to rebound and shock some people. Same thing, Josh Reynolds. He chose to come here because we're going to be awful. Like, we're seeing, we went out and got the Myles Garrett of the UFL, and he had multiple teams. I read another thing that there was up to 10 NFL teams who'd reached out to his agent, and he chose the Denver Broncos as his very first. Do you do that because you want to go to a team that's only going to win 5 games? And so all of this sleeping on us is getting out of control, and I think this is a great time to be the Denver Broncos fan base, because nothing feels better than having everyone sleep on you and be like, hey, we knew from the jump. Like, this is kind of how I felt as a Nuggets fan, like, after the bubble, and like, people really kind of wrote that off, and I'm like, no, Jokic is him, and he's going to shock some people. And then when we won it, I'm like, yeah, I knew that all along, and it was one of the better feelings I've ever had as a sports fan. And it's just a great time to be a Broncos fan, and there is a ton to Bo-Lieving. Oh,